Well, what an interesting 24 hours we had. We found out the outcome of Zak Butters being found guilty and receiving a $1,500 fine for his abuse on Nick Foot. And we also saw Lance Collard get a 9-week suspension after being found guilty of using a homophobic slur. All that and more as we preview all of the action in the round 6. Let's go. Hello everybody and welcome back to the Up the Guts podcast. Joining you as always is your host Trent D'Alton, and some of you might know me as Tricky. And yes, what a strange 24 hours we've had with Zak Butters being adamant he didn't say it, Nick Foot being adamant he did say it. If I just close my screen a little bit so I don't have to see my reflection. Being adamant he did say it. And it was a bit of back and forth. At the end of the day, he was found guilty. Now we have to wait and see if he appeals it. I discussed it more on the review episode. So if you haven't already gone and seen the review part 2, if you haven't gone and saw episode 223, I believe it is. I think it's 224 now. Go back and watch that because I do touch on it a bit more in that. But then I think it's time we move on unless Port Adelaide do decide to appeal it. But it's interesting, the Lance Collard and Zak Butters. Liam Ryan, interesting enough, as we speak, about 30 minutes ago, shared Lance Collard's post on his Instagram story and said double standards, which, I mean, only thing is Lance Collard is a repeat offender. But before we get into all that, we're going to go through the Up the Guts Tipping competition, how everyone went in round 5 in Gather Round. But before we get to that, if you're watching this on YouTube, please make sure you leave a like and comment on this video, as that's what the algorithm really has been favouring the last few months. Make sure you hit that subscribe button as we race towards 400 subscribers. Turn the notification bell, as I just chinned the microphone. Hit that notification bell so you're notified whenever we upload. If you're listening to this via Spotify or Apple Podcasts, make sure to leave a like and comment on this episode. Hit that follow button. Turn the notification bell on so you're notified whenever we upload. And please remember, guys, leave a 5-star rating, as that does push the show out there to newer listeners. For all the behind the scenes clips, actions, news, dribble, you name it, and clips from the show, make sure you follow us on all our socials, but in particular Instagram and TikTok at @UpTheGuts_. We are also on Facebook. If you just search up the Guts, you will find us there. But let's get into the Up the Guts Tipping competition to see how everyone is placed at the moment. Right, after round 5, this is the leaderboard at the moment. We have Will in first place. Fight Your Mates Admore on 35. Fig Jam goes up to second on 35 as well. So what's splitting them? Pretty big margin Will's got there. Connor jumps myself into third place on 34 because he tipped his trust beloved Bombers and got one there. As I mentioned, I'm in 4th. Zach's in 5th. Dalla's in 6th. Corey jumped up to 7th. Big Hungry drops down to 8th. Hodgie drops down to 9th. Adam jumps up to Adam Brogdon jumped up to 10th. Glenn, last year's second place, drops down to 11th. Logan jumps up to 12th. Big Pistol jumps up to 13th. JD Hawksman down to 14th. Aiden Miller down to 15th. My mother, Wendy, down to 16th. She's not very happy about that either. Jai in 17th. Chris stays in 18th. Adam or Scavvy jumps up to 19th. So he's off the bottom. And Uncle Ron stays in 20th. So that's how they look there. Did anyone get a 9? Yes, Connor got a 9 in round 5. So well done there. That's how the Other Guts tipping competition standing. Now let's get into previewing round 6, starting off with the heated rivalry, the long historic rivalry between my beloved Magpies and the Carlton Football Club. Let's get straight into it. MCG, 7:30, Thursday night. It is the rivalry that these two hate each other, Carlton and Collingwood. Currently, Carlton sit 16th on the ladder with a record of 1-4, and the Collingwood Football Club sit 13th on the ladder with a record of 2-3. And a very two interesting side. One side, as I mentioned, Collingwood just aren't scoring, and then Carlton just aren't really defending when you put it down to it, especially. But they do get the boost of Wiedering being available for selection this week. He'll walk straight back into the side, no doubt about that. And Harry Dean's also available for selection. So it'll be interesting to see if they do bring him straight in or they let him go. Because obviously, young draftee, don't want to rush it, but don't know what the extent of his injury, if they want to bring him straight back in or not. Sorry, guys. Still haven't got a bit of flu, but we move on. Now, the interesting battle is, I think, well, this is what Carlton need to do every week to win the game. But Carlton need to get well on top of the midfield battle, and this is where they can dominate. Get on top of the clearances. Walsh, Cripps. They need to bring back in George Hewitt for this, I think, and just bash the Collingwood midfield. We know this could be a different story this week, but we know last week Nick Dacos, there was nowhere near at 100%. So put some body onto him, test out that injury, because without Nick Dacos, no one is really starring in that midfield, and it's pretty bland. And even when they get it down there, no one's kicking goals in that midfield. So if they can dominate the midfield battle, get it in there, they could win this. But it's a grudge match, and there is no way I'm going against my boys. But what I want to see, Jordan Ngoe is out. Still solid, Bottom's been a rule out. I want to see some exciting brand of footy. We're set up so good behind the ball. Let's push forward. Let's help. Let's get it in there quickly, scrappy. But the forwards need to take opportunities. Excuse me. They need to take the opportunity. So whether it's Pennebury spending a bit more time at half forward, where we saw in the round one action where it was a bit more creative, moving around in that forward line. Whether it's that, it would have been DeGoey most likely playing there, but obviously injured now. Even he's a bit out of form. Jamie Yard's out of form, but they need to cash in. I don't think Darcy Moore's back, but I was going to say, even if Darcy Moore's back, does a Jeremy Howe swing forward and give a marking option down there? It's going to be interesting, but there is no way in this grudge match I am not backing my Collingwood Magpies in, and we're going to say by just the 10 points. Friday night, and it's a double header. First one should be a cracking game. It's Geelong and the Bulldogs. Geelong currently sitting 8th on the ladder with a record of 3-2, and the Bulldogs are 4th on the ladder after dropping their first game to the Hawks of the season, 4-1. Now, we saw Ed Richards go down, but thankfully it is not to extent. Aaron Norton might be in some trouble. Connor Budrick might be in some trouble. So when we thought, just as we thought the Dogs, this was their year, they were starting to look really dangerous, injuries are catching up to them. And the Cats, you can never write the Cats off of how good they are. Bailey Smith and Max Holmes were dominant last week. They were just absolutely explosive. Shannon Neal is having a really good start to this season. And it's at GMHBA Stadium. There's no doubt it's going to be a battle of the midfields, and we know what a quality midfield the Bulldogs have, and Geelong's is purely run through Smith and Holmes. But the Cats just don't lose at GMHBA Stadium, and I think where they can get on top here is not necessarily just a Cameron, that's the obvious one, but Shannon Neal. I can pencil Shannon Neal in for 4+ here. He could have a monster game, in my opinion. He's just starting to hit his straps. I'm still a young forward, and I think he could have a monster game against this vulnerable Western Bulldogs defence. He'll probably get, or Jeremy Cameron will get Buku Khamis, and I think Buku will go to Jeremy Cameron, and they can exploit him through. Actually, I think Jeremy Cameron could be the right matchup for Buku Khamis because he's not more. Jeremy Cameron normally tries to work his defenders by just constant running and work him off their legs, and he won't do that with Buku. Buku will be able to keep him up athletically. If he was lined up with Shannon Neal, Neal was just going to monster him. So I'd imagine that's going to be a Rory lob job, but then who goes in the ruck? It's going to be interesting, but the Cats just get this done at GMHBA Stadium, in my opinion. As I mentioned, though, it was a double header, and it is. They don't like us calling it is, but fuck it, I'm calling it. It's the Battle of the Bridge. Sydney Swans and the Jewish Giants, and the Swans look like the real deal. Currently sitting on top of the ladder with a record of 4-1. Isaac Heaney might very well be leading the Brownlow at the moment. He is absolutely dominating. Still looking for that Bob Sacamano game of 30-3, very much closely. And the Jewish Giants are struggling, especially without injuries. We thought it was good to see Cadman come back last week, but he's going to be out with concussion. So, and they've already missing, obviously, Tom Green, already missing Darcy Jones. I think, and Sydney Swans, other than one time last year when Anna Kingsley gave them the absolute bake of a lifetime, they normally have the upper hand on them, and I think this could be another bloodbath again. I reckon pencil the Swans in for a 40 to 50+ win here. So I'm going to be going the Swans in the Battle of the Bridge. Then Saturday, we kick it off 1:15 p.m. at People First Stadium. The Gold Coast Suns v the Bombers. And a little rumour going around that Noah Anderson might not get up for this clash. Has been down on form to start this season, might I add. And the Bombers are going to be riding the high after winning their first game in 18 matches. What a great story that is. And they're going to be riding that high. But we know Gold Coast Suns don't lose at home. That's just a fact. They don't lose at home. I would love to see Mac Andrew play a bit more ruck time. I thought he was really good when he went in the ruck. Let's have it look. And this type of new rules can favour him in a positive way because sometimes he gets a little bit lost down defence. We know former guest of the show, so we get around him. But I want to pull up. Let's have a look where Gold Coast Suns. So Mac Andrew went in the ruck, 17 disposals, 11 hit-outs, 6 marks, and 2 clearances. See, I'd like to see that happen a little bit more. Jared Witts, obviously, this new rule isn't really going to favour the likes of a Jared Witts. So, yeah, I'd love to see Mac Andrew spend some more time in that ruck role, kind of like not too... I think Luke Jackson's a bot type of player, but not too similar to a Luke Jackson. Obviously, has a lot more muscle to put on, does Mac. But love to see Mac spend a bit more time in the ruck. And Peter Wright's obviously the new ruckman for the Bombers, and looked like while they might get on top of him in the hitouts, does his work around the ground really well. Athletic. He's always been known as someone who's very agile for a 200 plus centimetre player, 2 metre Peter. But I'm going to be going to the Suns quite comfortably in this one. Then 4:15 p.m. at Marvel Stadium, it is the Hawks v. the Port. We would say grudge match if Ken was playing, but it's not now. And Zak Butters, he's going to be seeing blood. There is no doubt about it. Don't put Nick Foot on this game. I didn't say it. But the Port, they're just not the same Port, obviously. And life without Zak Butters is going to be so bad. Hawks look like the real deal, been harsh on them, but they're slowly growing on me. And how can't they when they keep putting in performances? They're 4-1, third on the ladder. They just get this done. Saturday night at Adelaide Oval, 7:35 p.m. It is the Crows v the Saints. Another one that could be quite an interesting game. A bit of a disappointing start to the season for the Crows. Currently sitting 11 from the ladder, 2-2 is their record. And the Saints, another disappointing one. They're currently sitting 14 for 2-3. Being at the Adelaide Oval, we automatically go to the Crows, and I'd love to see what they do with Nasiah Wanganeen-Malira. He's seeming like he's getting used to having someone run with him, but no one for a couple of weeks haven't played that hard tag. I imagine someone like a James Peatling will go to him and just rough him up around the edges. But that's where I think the Saints can get on top, is in the midfield. If they get on top in the midfield, they could have a real big say in this game, but then they can't let the Adelaide defence just intercept and rebound their ball back through like we know the Crows do. They build up their attack from half-back through the likes of Josh Worrell, through the likes of Wayne Miller. They build it up, and then they have options to hit down to. They've got Riley Thilthorpe. They've got Taylor Walker. Right now, I think it'll still be Finbar Maley, depending on Darcy Fogarty's availability. They got Josh Rochelle, who's on an absolute heater, playing as that midfield forward, 26-4 last week. They're just going to be unstoppable. Not unstoppable, sorry. They're going to be hard to stop, especially, I think they can get on top of the midfield, Saints, if they play their best midfield. If they play Max Hall, please get Max Hall in more midfield moments. Please get him into more centre bounces. Or centre ball ups. Sorry, my apology. I correct myself. Centre ball ups. RIP to the bounce, might I add. But the Crows get this done at home, I think, in the Saturday night. But it could be closer than some people think. A couple of goals, I reckon. Then we head over to Sunday, kick-starting it, 1:10 p.m. at Marvel Stadium. Geez, isn't this a beauty? North Melbourne and Richmond. North Melbourne are going really, really well. 3-2, currently sitting 7 from the ladder, and the Tigers yet to win a game. I think this is where we see how far ahead the Kangaroos are than the Tigers, and I genuinely think they could win this by 8 to 10 goals. I'm not even kidding. This is a game where they can go, okay, this is the teams you can compare us to or put us in the same category last year as. Look how much better we are than them now. Kangaroos get this done comfortably. Then we head over to 3:15 p.m. at the MCG, and it is Melbourne v the reigning back-to-back premiers, the Brisbane Lions. Melbourne currently sitting 9th on the ladder and surprised a few, but then probably had a little bit of a, come to reality moment and come to reality loss against the Bombers. They're currently 3-2 and sit 9th on the ladder. Well, Brisbane Lions currently sit 6th, winning their last 3 games, losing their first 2. But the Brisbane Lions look like they're just starting to cook. They get Harris Andrews back. They got Hugh McCluggage back. Will Ashcroft's in some form. Like Neil's obviously in some form. Kitty Coleman's in some form. New recruits Sam Draper and Oscar Allen look like they're really finding their feet in Lions, Guernseys. And normally what we used to would have said with, I just want to get a bit more analyst so it's not too short for you, but what we used to say is just cancel them out because these type of teams can challenge with Lions purely because it's the MCG. But they've proven they can play the MCG now. Hello, back-to-back premiers. Where's the grand final played? MCG. Brisbane Lions win this by 8 goals. It's just pretty plain and simple for me. And then to round out the round, we have got the Western Derby or Derby. What one is it? No, it's Derby. Yes, sorry, it is Derby they go with. West Coast, who are 15 for the ladder, 2 and 3 is their record. And Fremantle Dockers are 4 and 1. Now, this is going to be a battle of the midfield. I cannot wait to see Harley Reid and Caleb Sarong go head-to-head. There's no doubt they're going to. We saw Harley Reid and Zak Butters go head-to-head and just bash and crash. This is going to happen yet again. Heartbreak for Devon Robertson, who I thought was starting to put together a really good start to the season for his new club, the Eagles. Done his ACL, so he'll be gone for the rest of the year. They will welcome back Milan Murdoch. So that's good. A young one who showed some promise. Bailey Williams looks like he's going to take that number 1 ruck role over Matt Flynn. Looked lively down there. I'm really liking Ruben Jimby playing as a defender, key defender, and not fiddling around with him too much because what you get from Jimby is 120% an attack on the footy. He hates getting beaten by his opponent. But let's face it, Fremantle, for me, are one of the top contenders for the flag this year. I don't know if they'll go all the way, but they'll be their semi to prelim final weekend. And we should see a bit of if and biff. I reckon Paddy Voss and Harley Reid will get into it a little bit, give it a bit of a verbal push and shove. But the Dockers just get this done. And it could get ugly at points where we see it boil over after the margin. But I reckon the Dockers get this done by 50 points. I don't think it'll be that close in this one. There you have it, guys. There are my tips and predictions for round 6. We'll quickly go over it. Thursday night, I'm going the Pies by 10 points. Friday night, I'm in the doubleheader. First of all, I'm going the Cats over the Dogs. And then I'm in the Battle of the Bridge, I'm going the Swans over the Giants. Saturday, I'm going the Suns over the Bombers. Hawks over Port Adelaide. And the Crows over the Saints. And then Sunday, I'm going North over Richmond. Brisbane over Melbourne, and then to finish it off, Fremantle over West Coast Eagles in the Derby. Well, that's going to do it tonight. That's going to do it for this episode. I just stuffed it up, but we don't care. That's going to wrap this episode up for now. We'll be interested to see if Zak Butters and Port Adelaide appeal. I'm not too sure if they will, but if they do, we'll be sure to come back and talk about it. But until next time when I see you there, make sure while you're watching this YouTube video to make sure you leave a like and comment on this video. If you did enjoy it, hit that subscribe button as we race towards 400 subscribers. I'd love to get there by the end of the year. That would be amazing. Hit that notification bell so you notify whenever we upload. If you listen to this via Spotify and Apple Podcasts, please make sure you leave a like and comment on this episode as my voice just really gets really to the death ropes at the back end of this recording. But we'll get through this outro. Leave a like and comment on the episode. Hit that follow button. Turn the notification bell on so you notify when you upload. Share this off to a mate who loves their footy as much as I do. And please, guys, remember to leave Please, guys, remember to leave a 5-star rating on the show, as that does help push the show out there to new listeners. If you want all the behind-the-scenes action, all the sport and footy dribble that if you're watching this, I'm sure you love too, make sure you're following our Instagram and TikTok at @uptheguts_. We're also on Facebook too, so if you're boomer, I didn't say you're boomer, but if you're of a older class and prefer to use Facebook and not with the new kid generation of the Instagram and TikTok, you can find us on Facebook too just search up the Guts and it'll be the top one you'll find it in that search bar there. But that's going to wrap up today, guys. Thank you guys for listening and watching along. And until next time, I'll see you guys then.